everyone, this is Adrian. Today we're going to be making crab cakes with saffron rice and asparagus. So let's get started. First of all, we are going to be making saffron rice. And saffron is a very expensive spice. If you buy it by itself, a tube about this size can run you around $18. So it's very expensive. So they do make pre-packaged rices that already have the saffron seasoning in it. So that's what we're going to be using today. So we are just following the directions on the rice. I'm boiling water here and I have a tablespoon of olive oil. And if you can see this yellow seasoning in the rice, this is the saffron right here. And when we pull our rice out, it'll be all yellow instead of white. So get our water boiling. And we'll dump that in. And we'll come back to this in about half an hour. And it's best if you have pots and pans with the clear lids on them. That makes it easier to see about when your food is going to be done. I'm going to dump this in, stir it around, and let it come back up to a full boil. And you can see the saffron is already coloring the water. And as soon as our rice comes up to a full boil, we will cover it and drop it all the way down to low. Okay, so half an hour. All right, next we are going to cut up the vegetables that are going to go in our crab cakes. So I'm going to start with this garlic. And I'm just using one little clove. We don't want to make the crab cakes too garlicky. And we just slap it with a spatula and get the skin to come off. And we're going to put it in our magic machine, our little mini chopper. Okay. So we have garlic. And we're going to heat our skillet or our pan for our vegetables. Get that going. About a medium-high heat. Okay, next we're going to do the onion. The onions make us cry, so we're just going to cut a little bit of onion off here. And then I turn it face down so that the open part is facing the counter, and that'll help with the smell a little bit. So we're going to get it peeled as quickly as we can. And just get it cut into pieces that will fit in your chopper. And that's it. Cover the lid. And I'm going to rinse my hands. Alright, we'll get this chopped up. Alright, and you can just pulse it like that if you have any big pieces. And if some doesn't want to mix, we'll just take it out. Alright, so we have that done. And we're also going to add some celery and some corn. Now I like to put corn in my crab cakes because it gives it a little more texture and a little more bite. So here I just have frozen corn. If you want to use the corn out of the can, you can do that too. Just make sure it's drained. So we have that. And then we have our celery. that we put in the freezer and we let it defrost, and I'm going to drain some of the water out. If you don't use all your celery, if you buy a couple stalks of it and you don't end up using it all, you can cut it up into different sizes and just pop it in the freezer. All right. Okay, so our pan's warmed up. We're gonna put a little extra virgin olive oil in there. And I'm gonna start to dump my vegetables. Next to celery. We're just going to sizzle a little bit because there's a little water. Oil and water do not like each other. And now I'm going to dump the garlic and the onion in there. And I'm not going to season these vegetables by themselves. When I put it all together with the crab meat, I'll put enough seasoning in there then. But I just want to get these cooked a little bit, because when we're cooking the crab cake, you don't really cook them for that long, and we don't want to have raw vegetables in our crab cake. All right. All right, we'll let that get going. Okay, next we are going to get our asparagus prepared. So you buy asparagus in a bunch like this, and I usually use about half of it for 2 people. So just take about half. If you want to do less than that, you can. And we'll give it a rinse. Now the asparagus has a woody stem, so at the bottom their stem is a little bit tough, and we don't want to eat that part, but we need to know the part that is good to eat. So what you do is you take the asparagus and you hold it like this, and you just go like this, and it'll snap off where, see how it's kind of woody and rough here, and it'll snap off here where it's good to eat. And then you just take the rest of your asparagus and line them up, because they're about the same size, the same length. And you cut about where you snapped. All right, we're gonna get this here in our skillet. And all I do with the asparagus, it just has a really good taste on its own, like a really buttery taste. So all I like to do is put a little bit of extra virgin olive oil across it, like this, and a little bit of kosher salt. Not too much. Just like that. All right. Toss our vegetables. All right. Those are good. Those are browned up enough for us. Okay, we're going to turn off our heat, and we're going to get a bowl that we're going to mix everything in for our crab cakes. But what we need to do, since we're adding egg into the mixture, we're going to put our vegetables in and we're going to let them cool off, because if we immediately broke an egg over this, it would cook the egg. Very easy to cook an egg. I'm just going to dump it in this bowl, and this is where we're going to mix everything, so we're not making too many dishes. Okay. All right. Now we will cut up the vegetables we are going to use to make a salad. So today I'm going to make an avocado and tomato salad, and I'm just going to cut the tomato in half, however you want to do it, cube it, slice it. One half for one person, the other half for the other. All right, now for the avocado. We're just gonna cut into the avocado, and there's a big seed right in the middle of this, so we're just gonna cut around, all the way around the avocado, and then it should easily separate. And when you're buying the avocado at the store, you wanna look for a kind of firm one. And then we're gonna take the seed out by putting our knife in, twisting, and then it will pop out. If you're making guacamole, you actually want to keep the seed in with it, because it will help the avocado from going bad too quickly. And then the skin just peels right off, like that, cleanly. It gets messy, but it feels good. All right, I'm gonna wash my hands. And then we're gonna make a salad dressing. And I just like to make kind of like a vinaigrette. And I just get my favorite juice, which this is cranberry pomegranate juice. Get that opened up. And we'll get some olive oil. And some balsamic vinegar. And a little salt. And let's see. And a bowl to mix it in. Okay, so I just put a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of balsamic, and some juice. And a little bit of salt. You always kind of want to catch the salt in your hands. That way if you accidentally dump too much, you haven't dumped it directly into your food. And we'll whisk this together with a fork. And get that over our salad. And we'll let that sit in the fridge for a little bit till our dinner is done. Alright, while I'm in here, I'm going to grab the mayonnaise. cakes. And let's get our asparagus started. So we're just going to put that on about a medium. All right. Okay. Our vegetables have cooled off. And now we're going to add all of our ingredients plus our crab meat. Now I use about 6 ounces of lump crab, and then there's just regular crab over here. And this lump crab gives it some thickness. And just make sure you run your fingers through the crab like this to make sure there's no shell or claw pieces in there. So let's dump that nice cold crab in there. And we are going to put some lemon in there. I'm going to cut long ways here. Cut it into slices. And I'm going to use the juice of about half a lemon. When they're finished, I'll have lemon slices that we can squeeze over top of them to give it even more lemony flavor. Okay. All right, here are our spices. Alright, so I just have some seasoned salt, a couple shakes of that. Don't want to make them too salty. Have some pepper, some crushed red pepper for a little heat, and some ground cumin. And ground cumin, if you smell it, it smells like barbecue sauce. And the unique spice that I like to add in my crab cakes is curry powder. So we'll put a little bit of curry powder. And we will give our asparagus a toss here. And once we move it around like this, the oil will get evenly distributed. And just make sure they're all flat on the skillet. And we'll just turn them every couple minutes until they get fully browned. Okay, so let's turn our crab cake skillet back on. I'm going to put it on medium. Okay, I'm going to dump my egg in. I just like to break it on a paper towel. If you're not good with breaking eggs and you always get shell in the egg yolk, then you can do it in a separate bowl. And we're going to wash our hand after we touch raw eggs. Okay. So we're going to use 3 binders. We're using the egg, we're going to use breadcrumbs, and we're going to use mayonnaise. And that's going to help us hold our crab cakes together. So we don't want to put too much breadcrumbs because it will overpower the crab meat itself. And you don't want your whole crab cake to be breadcrumbs. And then we're going to put a couple squirts of mayonnaise too, not too much. All right. Roll our asparagus again, it's talking to us. like to use plastic gloves. Easier mess cleanup. Alright, and we're going to mix it all together. Make sure we get that egg broken up. And we don't want to over mix, so just until we get it all mixed thoroughly. Now I'm going to put a little bit more breadcrumbs in here. All right. All right, so I try to get about 6 crab cakes out of this. So if you divide it down the middle like that, so it's about half and half, and then you make it into 3 sections, you'll about get your 6 crab cakes. So let's get these formed up. And all you're going to do is take it and scoop and make it into a patty. And once you get it in the skillet, you don't want to mess with it so it can form a crust on the bottom. Not too thick, so we don't have to cook them too long. Okay, and just be careful with the plastic gloves that you don't touch them to the skillet. Oh, I think I might get an extra one out of this. Let's see. No, we'll make it work into 6. Okay. Got about 10 more minutes left on our rice. Alright, so we'll let these cook about 5 minutes on each side or until you get a nice golden crust. And then we're going to try to carefully flip them. In the meantime, I'll give our asparagus a toss. I want to get this in the bag before the fumes start coming up and I start having tears in my eyes. If you're cutting an onion and you get tears in your eyes, do not wipe your eyes with your fingers because that will just make it worse. Give our lemon another slice and we'll use these when the crab cakes are done. Turn my heat up just a little bit. Alright, when the asparagus starts to get golden brown like this, you can drop the temperature down. I'm just going to drop this down to low. Now, to go with our crab cakes, we're going to make a remoulade sauce, and that has mayonnaise in it. It's a mayonnaise-based sauce. And I like to put a little what's called rooster sauce, and it's hot chili garlic sauce. So there's no perfect ratio for this. Just put some mayonnaise in there. And the more chili sauce you put, of course, the hotter it's going to be. And we'll use this to dip our crab cakes in. So I like mine dark, a little darker red. So let's put a little bit more mayonnaise, a little more chili. That should be good. All right. And we'll put this all back in the fridge. You don't want mayonnaise sitting out. Okay, let's see how the first crab cake looks that we put in. So I get 2 spatulas to try to help me flip this. I'm not sure if it's ready to flip yet. If I can get it to come up in one piece. There we go. Take some practice. It might break apart a little bit. But that's what we want, this golden side over here. And just form them back together. They break apart, that's fine. They'll come back together on the other side. I don't want to flip that one yet. Try this one. Perfect. This middle one will be nice. Oh, he broke apart. So another couple minutes on this side, and then we'll be done. Alright, and we'll give our asparagus a turn. And our rice is almost done. And we just have our asparagus on low. But it's pretty much done. All right. 2 more minutes on our rice. And we'll chuck our first crab cake. All right, I like the way that looks. They stay together a little better once you get the other side cooked as well. So I'm gonna turn these off, and then I'm just gonna put them all on a plate here. Let's switch these. Let's see, how does our other side look? There you go. So we know they're done. And our rice should be about done. Make room, everybody. Okay, we'll turn our asparagus off, turn our rice off, make sure everything's off, and we'll give our rice a stir to fluff it up. And as you can see, it's all yellow, and that's from the saffron in the rice. And there's other seasonings in there as well, so you don't need to put any any salt or anything in there. All right, let's make ourselves a plate here. Get our sauce. We made. Get one of our salads here. All right. Okay, we have our colorful dinner, and I'm going to give our crab cakes a little squeeze of lemon. And we'll take a bite. And you're able to see all the onions, the pieces of corn in there, celery. So good. That curry gives it a smoky flavor. All right, we'll see you guys next time.